Hello and welcome to the number one championship podcast, the second tier. I'm Ryan Dilks and we are reacting fresh off the back of Sheffield United thumping Bristol City 3-0 in the playoff semi-finals. I, of course, am joined by the Rob Dickey to my Kiefer Moore. It's Justin Peach.
Good day to you, Ryan.
Before we get into tonight's game, Justin, we've got a lot to discuss from that very game, haven't we? But we've got a big prize to give away to one lucky viewer of tonight's live stream. We're giving away a bottle of Jameson Black Barrel to one lucky winner tonight. That's extra fancy stuff, ladies and gents. All you have to do is leave a comment and we'll pick a winner to be announced at the end of the show. It really is as simple as that. 18 plus only, UK only, T's and C's apply. Click the link in the description for a full list of T's and C's. But please get involved in the conversation anyway. We want your feedback throughout this episode of your thoughts after that game right there. But let's get into it, Justin, because Sheffield United have one foot in the playoff final. It's after a 3-0 win away at Bristol City. The game itself did kind of die a death, really, didn't it? After one incident in particular, which we will get onto, ladies and gentlemen. But up until that point, it was quite a back and forth game, really, wasn't it, Justin?
It was. I was quite impressed with how Bristol City took the game to Sheffield United. I think Sheffield United did have chances themselves, but I thought the way Bristol City were trying to play through Sheffield United, I thought was quite impressive. It was fair. I wouldn't say an impressive game plan, but it could have been an effective one. Had it finished 11v11, of course. I was impressed with Max Bird because I thought he was really controlling the possession, especially in the first half. But then obviously that moment happened and Sheffield United did start to get to grips with the game. But overall, it was a nice 45 or 44 minutes, I think I would say.
Yeah, the first half was very even, really, wasn't it? It looked like it was going to be a good matchup between these two. And we will get onto that moment in a moment, Justin, because it's very hard not to mention it. But we'll go through what happened in that first half, first of all, because the first major talking point came in the 10th minute when Tyrese Campbell had a goal disallowed. Sidney Peck was deemed to be offside on the line and was apparently interfering with the goal. Was that the correct decision for you, Justin?
I think yes, it's the right call in the balance of the rules. I think the only thing I would throw in there to debate is: are we 100% certain that Sidney Peck is offside? Do we need lines drawn out? Oh, I don't know.
His hip is very clearly offside, Justin.
Well, you say that, but there could be a toe. This is what I mean. I need lines to clarify it. I've become gazumped by VAR in this scenario because I'm not looking at it and going, oh, the linesman has seen his hip, Sidney Peck's hip in an offside position there. I think he's not guessing. But, look, it's the right call. I think that's what we've got here. Maybe an overcomplication of the rules. I think if common sense was to prevail, I think Sheffield United would be 1-0 up at this point because, again, you could make an argument about Peck interfering with play with Jason Knight. Was Jason Knight ever going to get to the ball? Blah, blah, blah. But, look, right decision in the end.
He's definitely offside. I can say that much for sure. The bigger question for me is whether Jason Knight would have been able to clear it off the line, which I think he probably would have. So I think it's the right decision all round. It's a very tight one, don't get me wrong, because it's not like there's a very clear leg sticking out from Sidney Peck. It is like sort of his side, which is just a bit further on than the ball is. So yeah, that was the right decision. Then shortly after that, Joe Williams hits the bar for Bristol City, giving it a right good go with a beautiful strike from outside the box. 29th minute, you had Max O'Leary producing a superb double save from Tyrese Campbell from a one-on-one situation. That's what I mean when I say it was very back and forth in the first half, looking pretty even. And it looked at half-time like it was going to be going with the two teams heading into the break at, even points. But then just before half-time, Justin, Sheffield United get a penalty and Rob Dickey is given a red card for a foul on Kiefer Moore. Harrison Burrows converted said penalty. Now, for a bit of context for anyone watching this caused absolute carnage in the second tier WhatsApp group with Justin and I and our producers and what have you, where we were debating whether this was the right decision or not. general consensus from us was that it was the wrong decision. We put on social media that we thought it was the wrong decision, and everyone has come back at us saying, "What are you talking about?" We seem to be the only people on earth who think that was the wrong decision, Justin. But go on, give us your take on this decision, the penalty and the red card. That is.
Yeah, it depends what you see as the wrong decision. Do you think it's a penalty? Yes, I think it is a penalty. I think when I initially tweeted about it, I was on the fence whether or not it's a penalty. A couple of replays later, it is a penalty. But then you start to get down into it and you analyse whether or not Rob Dickie has attempted to play the ball. Now, I've seen half of the world quote Dogso, which is denial of an obvious goal scoring opportunity, and I've seen half of the world quoting double jeopardy. Now, I feel like the wrong decision here is that Rob Dickie should not have been sent off. I think it should have been a yellow card. Because again, people are suggesting that Kiefer Moore was dragged down. Basic physics lesson here. If Kiefer Moore's dragged down, he goes backwards, not forwards. Kiefer Moore goes forwards.
It's a fair point. It's a very fair point, ladies and gentlemen. You can't argue with that. And the other thing is, it's Kiefer Moore we're talking about here. He's a big boy, isn't he?
Yeah. I think Kiefer Moore's used all of his experience here to, I wouldn't say exaggerate contact, but make the most of Rob Dickie on his shoulders. Now, Rob Dickie is on Kiefer Moore's shoulders. We're not denying that. But I think Rob Dickie uses Kiefer Moore to try and get the ball, which is why it's a clumsy challenge. But Rob Dickie goes for the ball, and that's where double jeopardy comes into it. It's a very, very difficult decision to make. I acknowledge that. But given that the referee, Ollie Langford in question, has made some questionable red card mistakes in the past few weeks, again, that fills my mind with doubt over whether he's right on this one.
I don't think it's a red card. I'll say that much, first of all. I'm not even completely sold as a penalty. I know you're quite sold on it, Justin. I'm not as sold. First of all, if you focus on Kiefer Moore's feet, he just like tumbles down when there's no contact whatsoever around the kind of leg area. And then when you look at Rob Dickie's hands, he's kind of got them just on Kiefer Moore's shoulders. It's not like he's clearly dragging him back or anything like that. So that's why I'm not completely sold on the idea that it is even a penalty. But when it comes to the whole double jeopardy thing, you know, I've got the law here in front of me. When a player commits an offence against an opponent within their own penalty area, which denies an opponent an obvious goal-scoring opportunity, and the referee awards a penalty kick, the offender is cautioned. If the offence was an attempt to play the ball, in all other circumstances, the player must be sent off. So with that, what I've just said, I probably didn't word it very well, but Rob Dickie has tried to play the ball because he's got his foot round, he's connected with the ball. So I just don't think that should be a red card because I think it was a genuine attempt to play the ball.
Yeah, I think if Rob Dickie doesn't go to play the ball, Kiefer Moore doesn't go down. Obviously, whether he gets his shot off is another question. But ultimately, I don't think it's Rob Dickie's arms on Kiefer Moore's shoulders that have bundled him over. I think it's Rob Dickie trying to play the ball. And that's what my consensus comes down to, is the fact that Rob Dickie is using Kiefer Moore's body to try and gain a little bit of momentum on swinging his legs around to get it. As I say, I think it's a clumsy challenge. I think it's poor defending from Rob Dickie to even allow that scenario to happen. That needs to be called out. But ultimately, for me, there's just too much in between Rob Dickie putting his arms on Kiefer Moore's shoulders and the suggestion that he's pulled him down, because he hasn't. Because, as I say, Kiefer Moore's gone forwards. But the reason why he's gone forwards is because Rob Dickie's gone through his body to get to the ball. That's my interpretation of it. But this is why people are quoting denial of an obvious goal scoring opportunity, because they see it as Rob Dickie not attempting to play the ball, and there's some people suggesting double jeopardy because they see it as Rob Dickie trying to play the ball. That's the split opinion, and that's what we've got. We've got a very debatable topic here, and you know what? We love it. That's why we're
got some feedback in the comments section. Great Bants says foul and last man red card. How could it be anything else? Irrelevant whether he attempted the ball. Irrelevant, it was a dangerous foul. Foul and last man equals red. Simple. Jonathan Davies, definitely a red. Last man denial of a goal scoring opportunity. Take your pick, really. Richard Hardwick says he wouldn't have got a foot on the ball if he hadn't have pulled him back. All fair comments. Absolutely fair comments. I just think it's soft as a penalty. And from what I've said, he made an attempt to get the ball. So I don't think, if you talk about double jeopardy, I don't think that should be a red card for me personally. And even if the rules state that it is a red card, should it be, is the other thing I would bring up, because you look at that, Bristol City having a penalty given against them and the red card, it has absolutely killed the game from their point of view, hasn't it? Because now Bristol City, they're not going to get anything at Bramall Lane. We'll talk about that in a sec, but it has almost certainly killed off their playoff hopes. This one decision, really. So this is why I'm just so frustrated about this whole thing, because first of all, I don't think it was the right decision anyway, but even if it was, should it have been a red card as well just now? I think that's more of an issue with the rules. Whichever way you look at it, I think everyone can agree on that, can't they?
Yeah, like I said, we've had a few of these decisions from Ollie Langford in the last few weeks. Trey Hume, ironically, against Bristol City for Sunderland. He was red carded for something outside the box. Jay De Silva, Coventry against Luton. Ollie Langford sent Jay De Silva off for a clip at the heels, despite it being accidental. Again, there's such a blurred line with this ruling that whether things are accidental, whether things are deliberate. Again, it all comes down to subjectiveness, essentially. But whether or not the decision's killed the game, I don't think it's relevant on the outcome of the decision. It has killed the game and it's limited Bristol City's chances, but that for me has no bearing on whether or not it's a red card.
What do you mean?
It just, from what you were saying, the red card killing the game, it has, but that's not ultimately why the decision's been made.
No, what I'm saying is that's a problem with the rules. It shouldn't be a red card because now Bristol City have not only had a goal go against them, which, penalty 9 times out of 10 is a goal, and then they've had the red card as well. That's what literally double jeopardy means. They've had 2 massive blows there from a moment in time that doesn't necessarily deserve it. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. It does make sense, but again, this is why it is frustrating that we've come to this and we've spent a long time on it. But it is such a contentious decision, I think. And again, there is a crossover with the rules. Is it a denial of an obvious goal scoring opportunity, or is it double jeopardy? It's split right down the middle. So on that basis, you can maybe side with the referee a little bit, but at the same time, it's such a big decision. We've got VAR in the final. Do we need it in the semis?
Yeah, but that's not what I'm talking about.
No, I know. I'm just extending.
It doesn't sound like you do know. What I'm saying is that's a problem with the rules.
Yes, and I'm saying that the rules are blurred. That's what I'm saying. The rules are blurred, and we've got a contentious decision here. We've got VAR in the final. Maybe VAR in the semi-final completely clears that up.
VAR's got nothing to do with it. We'll move on, because we've spent most of the show talking about one moment, when really we've got plenty to talk about from the rest of the game itself. I mean, as we say, the second half was a bit of a no contest, really. Bristol City didn't have much of note from that second half, really, at all, did they? 73rd minute, Sheffield United made it 2-0 thanks to Andre Brooks. And then literally 5 minutes later, Callum O'Hare makes it 3-0 with a flick which at first I looked at and thought, he's not meant that. But then I saw the final replay, Justin, and it might actually be one of the most audacious little flicks I've ever seen in my life, because I think he did mean it, actually, after seeing that.
It's one of those where you got to take a chance. You got to take a chance, because I think, I can't remember who headed it now in the first place, but with the flick probably carries it through and just wrong foots everybody. So actually, it's a very, very clever bit of innovation, if you like. Improvisation would be the better word, from Callum O'Hare. And that goal in itself probably kills the tie. I wouldn't rule it out, but it probably kills the tie. So if he's definitely meant it, he's an absolute genius, is Callum.
Yeah, that was absolutely beautiful. Justin, let's take a brief moment to catch our breath, because it's been a heated first few minutes of this episode, hasn't it? But let's have a look at how we did in our bet builder for this game from the previous show, brought to you by SBK. So we had a £5 stake, which was due to return £67.50 if it came in. We had Bristol City over 11.5 shots. was pretty much dead, wasn't it, after that red card? So great, thanks. There were only 4 shots in the game as a whole. Under 3.5 cards, there were only 2, so that one came in. Under 2.5 goals, wrong. Full-time result to be a draw, wrong. Yeah, the red card has absolutely buggered our bet builder there, hasn't it? But just a reminder that we have got a bet builder for the other playoff final tomorrow night. Coventry v Sunderland, of course. Over 12.5 shots for Coventry. Dan Neal to commit over 1.5 fouls. Both teams to score no. Coventry to win. A £10 stake on that bet builder returns £233 thanks to SBK's 25% boost on all bet builders with 4 more selections for Coventry v Sunderland. But remember, if you don't fancy our bet builder with SBK, you can create your own bet builder from a range of markets. T's and C's apply. 18 plus, and please gamble responsibly. Just a reminder, we will be doing another live stream straight off the back of that game tomorrow night, so we look forward to seeing you then for that as well. But let's finish off kind of our review of this game, Justin. It turns out this was the biggest playoff away win since 2016. Which might be a game you remember. It was Hull against Derby, which was bringing back painful memories, which I don't really care to remember. But Justin, simple question: is this tie over?
Yeah, 3-0 is a big deficit to turn over away from home, isn't it? Especially at Bramall Lane. So on that basis, you can suggest the tie is over. That being said, you mentioned that game. Obviously, Hull beat Derby 3-0 at Pride Park. Andy Robertson scored in that game, by the way. But Derby nearly turned the second leg over. They nearly turned the second leg over. They got an early goal, I think it was from Johnny Russell, and they took the game to Hull. And unfortunately, if the game was 10 minutes longer, they probably could have got a third because they were knocking on the door. And of course, we saw Sheffield Wednesday do it in League One against Peterborough. Although the return leg was at Hillsborough, the early goal can make the home crowd nervous if Bristol City can get it. It could make the team nervous as well. So who knows? That being said, a 3-0 deficit is a big one.
It's a very optimistic way of looking at it,
Why
Justin.
not?
Look at you. You, Mr. Positivity.
Embrace the playoffs, Ryan. Embrace the playoffs.
Yeah, the playoffs. Anything can happen in the playoffs. You're absolutely right. But I'm pretty comfortable in saying this tie is over now. It's just unfortunately the case. If Bristol City managed to get out of it with the being one goal behind, then maybe I'd give them a bit of hope of going to Bramall Lane and maybe getting something from that, maybe taking it to extra time or something. I don't know. 3-0, that's it. It's dead in the water, I'm afraid. Basically, as the goals kept tumbling in, that was Bristol City kind of seeing the knife twist and really kill off their chances, really, which is a massive, massive shame because, as we've alluded to throughout this show, it's kind of just all centered around one refereeing decision, which isn't really kind of the spirit of the playoffs, really, is it? But yeah, as the second half drew on and Bristol City was still only 1 goal behind, I was like, actually, this is okay. But now I look at it, 3 goals away at Bramall Lane. It's not happening.
Yeah, the third goal really kills the game, which is why I think that beautiful bit of improv from Callum O'Hare actually might be such a defining moment in this tie, because I think 2-0, again, it's a hard one to turn over, but we've seen it done before. Derby against Leeds, for example. It is possible, and like I said, I don't think you can rule anything out, especially away from home. You know, if Bristol City do get an early goal, the crowd could get nervous. You know, we've seen Sheffield United implode already this season. Post Oxford defeat just a couple of weeks ago. So, what's to say that Bristol City score in the first 5 minutes, the nerves start coming from the stadium, transmitting onto the pitch, and we get a really, really good second leg. It's a very, like you said, a very optimistic point of view. And I'm trying to really build up the second leg and try and keep people switched into it, and even myself switched into it. But that's what I'm hoping for. Will it happen? The odds are very, very slim.
Yeah. I can't see it happening. I appreciate you trying to make us think there's still something to play for in this second leg, but I think Bristol City may just have to use it as a learning experience, I guess. It's something they can take away from it. It's a good experience, I guess. But you mentioned the Derby Leeds game from 2019. Keep in mind, Leeds were only the 1 goal ahead heading into the second leg in that game. It wasn't anything like this. So, yeah, we don't really know how to build up the second leg now, do we, Justin? Because we want people to tune in and listen to our review after that. But, what do we say?
I tell you how, Nike Wells is going to score in the 7th minute at Bramall Lane. The crowd's going to get edgy and twitchy and nervous, and we're going to see a Sheffield Wednesday-like comeback, as we saw against Peterborough in the League One playoffs just a couple of seasons ago. And we're going to see history, ladies and gents. That's how I'm selling it. We're going to witness history, Ryan.
Yeah,
maybe
the biggest scoreline a team's ever lost by over 2 legs in a playoff semi-final. I'm only joking, Bristol City fans, but yeah, even they must be willing to admit it's not looking very good from their perspective. They've just got to go for it in that second leg, haven't they? They've literally just got to throw the kitchen sink, everything at it, and just hope that something remarkable does happen, even though the odds are really, really stacked against them. They've just got to go it from the off, haven't they, Justin, and just see what happens. And as you say, maybe if they do score in the first 20 minutes, the nerves may start ringing around Bramall Lane. You never know. That's all they can hope for.
We've seen it in European ties. Liverpool turning over Barcelona just a couple of years ago. It can happen. It can. Come on, it can happen. This is it, and this is why player football needs to be embraced and loved, because we get the most dramatic moments time and time again. The Hogdini situation, that was just like it's unscripted. No one will ever come up with that storyline. So Bristol City going to Bramall Lane and winning 4-0, no one will come up with that storyline because it's crazy. But you know what? Embrace the crazy.
Maybe. It is a semi-serious point, Justin. From a Sheffield United perspective, is this like a big advantage for them? Obviously, it's a big advantage for the fact that they basically got 1 foot at Wembley now. But in terms of whoever they're more than likely going to be facing at Wembley, does that give them an advantage now because they can, have some extra preparation in the lead up to that game now, do you think? Because they may have one eye on the playoff final now.
Obviously, they'll keep an eye on what happened in the Coventry-Sunderland game, but I think psychologically, Sheffield United will be going to play Bristol City and getting the job done. That will be the main focus. And yes, they might switch their attention a little bit towards the final, but I just don't think you can. That being said, just to flip the question a little bit, I think this puts down a bit more of a marker against the likes of Coventry and Sunderland, because they're going to probably watch this game and go, bloody hell, like they've really done Bristol City here. And I know Bristol City were down to 10 men, but getting the 2 goals and then seeing how they managed the return leg, that's the psychological boost that I think you get, and the confidence boost that I think Sheffield United need, because like I said, we're only a couple of weeks away, a couple of weeks after that meltdown they had just in April. So getting this convincing win away from home, I think that's the big mental positive that they can take into that next leg. I don't think they're looking at the final by any means, but certainly this will send down a bit of a marker to Coventry and Sunderland.
Yeah, and I think that's a really valid point, actually, Justin, because it's very, very easy to forget and has kind of been forgotten by a lot of people, mainly because, I guess, of how bad Sunderland's form has been heading into the playoffs. But Sheffield United only won 2 in 7 heading into this game. They weren't in great licks themselves. So getting back to winning ways psychologically will be a big, big thing for them, won't it? And doing it in such dominant fashion, yeah, they had a bit of help along the way, but doing it in such dominant fashion is going to be a big, big boost for them. And if they do get some extra preparation now, looking ahead to the final, then great for them. Because, as I say, it looks like they will be probably booking their tickets for Wembley now tomorrow. So
look, Sheffield United's playoff record, you cannot count anything out. Do not look at hotels.
I appreciate you, Justin, trying your best. You've been really giving it a go for the past 10 minutes, trying to play up the stakes that there's still something to play for in this game. But even the most optimistic Bristol City fan must be thinking, yeah, may have to cancel that Premier Inn I've got booked for 3 weeks' time because it's not looking great, is it? We've even got a poll, Justin, that we put out to the YouTube viewers. Is the tie over already? Yes or no? Justin, I'm going to guess you're saying no.
It's never over.
I love that. 3% of people agree with you.
Like Pelton.
96% of people said yes, the tie is over already. Producer Tom, can we get a poll on whether people thought that was a sending off or not? If we can try and get that done just before the end of the show, because I'd be very interested to see what people have to say about that. It may be a bit late in the show now for that, but yeah, it does look like the tie is over already. Before we go though, Justin, it's time to reveal the winner of our Jameson Black Barrel giveaway. We've received plenty of comments and we can now announce our winner. And it's Alan Pashley. You have won yourself a bottle of Jameson Black Barrel. So get in touch with us by emailing secondtierpod@gmail.com to claim your prize, and we'll be in touch with the details on that. Producer Tom has produced right at the end of the show, Justin. Should Rob Dickey have been sent off? 63% of people said yes. 37% said no.
Okay.
So actually, considering we've been getting dogs abuse on X for the past 2 hours about saying that was the wrong decision, people in the YouTube comments not disagreeing with us as much as that. So, you know, we're not completely wrong there.
There we go. There's some solace to take away from it. You know, Bristol City lose, but at least we didn't get absolutely hammered in the comments.
Yeah. Well, maybe. But there we go, ladies and gents. This has been our review of the first playoff semi-final, first leg between Bristol City and Sheffield United. Sheffield United can start planning their trip to Wembley. I think it's fair to say, make sure you've got free cancellation just in case. But it looks like that will be the case. Bristol City will have to go to Bramall Lane on Monday, hoping that the football gods have got something dramatic planned for them. But yeah, it's not looking very good for their first playoffs campaign in 17 years. It's worth remembering as well. So yeah, not really gone to plan that, has it? But there we go, ladies and gents. This has been our review straight off the back of that game. We'll be back again tomorrow night for our reaction straight off the back of Coventry v Sunderland. So we look forward to seeing you then for that. But this has been the Second Tier Podcast. I've been Ryan Dilks.
I've been Justin Peach.
And a big thank you for listening.